Shalom, Kol Halal, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Rakah HaKodash. Double honors unto the apostles, double honors unto the elder bishops. Salutations to all my fellow laborers doing this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom to do so now more so than ever. The would-be judges, the 144,000, and the scattered elect that are scattered around the four corners of the earth, that be like unto the speckled bird, the Israelite foreigners among the heathen nations that have the appearance of the heathen nations, the scattered, and to the few Akwaf that are listening and learning to you, I say Shalom. This is your brother Malcolm from the branch of the Great Millstone here in Chicago, coming at you with another lesson in truth. And you can see the title here. It says Razor Bumps can now get you kicked out of the Marines. Black men will likely suffer. Well, first of all, I like the fact that you can see how brown his skin is on his hand. All right. His face is darkened by the sun. He's in the sun a lot. So his true complexion is right around his wrist. If you will, right here. You can see the wrist. All right. And you look at his face, and there's a shadow on his face too from the bill of his cover. That's what the Marines call a hat. They don't call it a hat, they call it a cover. So you can see the sunlight, on his right cheek, on his neck a little bit. His true complexion is on his wrist. All right. Remember, his face is darkened by the shadow of his build, of his the bill of his cover. All right. Now, this guy is brown. He's not black at all. So that's the first thing. He's like a milk chocolate brown. The shadow from his bill makes him look a lot darker than what he really is. But I'm going to look up this word, all right? And this is Silveter Mortis, Black Logs, 2nd edition, all right, of the word black. Let me tell you why they call you that, all right? And I'm going to put this in the screen so that you can screenshot it for your own evidence folder, all right? It says, first, there exists no nation of black Americans, nor there is no black America. It is in any documented record the world over, black American are what is referred to in law as a misnomer, or collectively misnomers with an S. As you well know, grammatically, black, B-L-A-C-K, and this with a small b, is an adjective, all right? And it's not a proper noun, all right? So remember, it tells you too, whenever black is put before something, it denotes a negative connotation. So remember, I've broken it down to you. Black means ugly, unclean, dirty, immoral, filthy, untrustworthy, murderous, dead. So when you're calling somebody black people, you're calling them, basically you're insulting them. All right. It says black is an adjective, not a proper noun. Socially and politically, black implies silveter mortis, which means dead in the eyes of law. That's why we don't get any true justice in this place. All right. Black American is not a nationality, nor is it a nation. Therefore, black has no political interests, powers in a free national constitution that was prepared for all free national beings. So the fact that they call you black and the fact that you still accept it, so you need to screenshot that. This is from the Black Laws Dictionary, 2nd edition. All right. Screenshot it. You need to have it. That's the source. You can see it at the top. That's Black Laws Dictionary. All right. So you know what? Let's play her. It's been a while.
Is teaching white Americans how white slave owners raped, beat, humiliated, mutilated, murdered, and cannibalized their slaves. Accurate history is teaching that George Washington's false teeth were made out of his slaves' teeth. Accurate history is teaching that Abraham Lincoln may have said some words and signed some shit but he did not physically do anything to free the slaves. The white abolitionists also often get almost total credit for freeing the slaves. I bet you've never even asked yourself what the slaves were doing to free themselves, and the answer to that is most of the fucking work, including giving the ultimatum of war. But then we get a bunch of white people mad that their kids might feel guilty if we teach real history. It's not about your white child's feelings. Teaching accurate history isn't about white people's feelings, but that does sound like something that someone who's only ever been taught a white glorifying version of history would counter with. Ask why we ever felt like we needed to curate a false version of what white people did and did not do to black people to begin with, and then ask yourself why white-ass politicians are verbally attacking real history by calling it slurs, which is, by default, also the act of calling black people slurs.
So, once again, that whole black and white thing was orchestrated, and it's an orchestrated constructs, social constructs that aren't even real. All right, there's no such thing as white people. There's no such thing as black people. As I pointed out, his face is in the shadows of the bill on his cover, on his what you call a hat, and you can see his wrist where he's giving the salute. It's the true color of his skin. And he's like a brown. He's brown. Black, so-called black people are really brown. And as I just read you the description, the definition of black is a negative title that was placed upon these people very carefully. They just didn't come up with it. All right. They were careful about using this slur. Okay, to call you black. Okay. And the thing is that what people don't realize is that this may be a blessing in disguise. It says a U.S. Marine Corps guidance released in March states that people who suffer from skin conditions like PFB may be discharged. Critics argue the policy is racist because the fact is that it's mostly Israelite men, these who suffer from this condition, because the truth of the matter is, biblically, they are the Hebrew Israelites in the Bible. Let me go to my scripture. Let's go to the scriptures. Salakia. Oh, didn't mean to do that. It's 2 Corinthians 11:22, and it reads, "Are they Hebrews? So am I. Are they Israelites? So am I. Are they the seed of Abraham? So am I." Because the average Christians like to pretend that the Hebrew Israelites is not the subject matter of the Bible in the New or Old Testament. And it is. Okay? It's clear that Paul, who also was a Hebrew Israelite from the tribe of Benjamin, makes it very clear in Corinthians, his letter to the Corinthians, that he's speaking to the Hebrew Israelites, which is the Bible's to the Hebrew Israelites, like it or not. He said, you Christians, you know religion, you don't know the Bible. But it says here, at the insult, black service members make up about 15% or 16% of the active military, but hold 66% of the shaving waivers, according to the military. All right. So that means you're going to get rid of 60% of the so-called Negroes, and then you still got 40% of the other people. So you stand to lose more than half of your military. The truth of the matter is that scripturally, if that was to happen to you, you're receiving a blessing in disguise. Okay? A straight blessing in disguise. This is Leviticus, because we're not supposed to shave our face anyway. Because what happens is that the so-called Negro, the Israelite, they have what you call over curly hair. You have over curly, which is a typical type of hair that the so-called Negro has, okay, which is often racially called, on a very racist connotation, called nappy. It's over curly because it's curly. It's over. It's more than curly. All right, it's extra curly. So when you shave it, sometimes it curls up under the skin before it comes out, and it causes those bumps, which can be very uncomfortable and very painful. Okay, especially if you're just constantly shaving every day. All right. When I was a young man in the Marine Corps, my Reubenite heritage, I wasn't a very hairy person. Even now, I don't really have sideburns. It won't connect. It won't grow. It's it's very light. Okay. And if you notice, a lot of Gadites, a lot of Reubenites, they don't really have big thick beards like Judah and the rest of the tribes. Okay. I mean, it is what it is. But the point being is that even I had those issues after a while with shaving. I would get those bumps, and I wouldn't get them real bad, but but every now and then I would get a pimple with what I thought was a pimple, and I burst it, and then all of a sudden the hair would come out, and it's in the law that we're not supposed to put the blade, put the razor to our skin like that, and maul the corners of our hair. That means shaving it off. And I used to do the same thing. Shave it all off and leave a little military mustache. I have a bunch of pictures of me in uniform just like him with a very similar look. All right. This is Leviticus 19. And the point is in verse 27, but I'm going to read verse 1 and 2. It says, "And Yahweh spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the congregation of the children of Israel," the Hebrew Israelites, all right, the children of Israel, "and say unto them, Ye shall be holy, separate, for I, Yahweh, your power, am holy." I'm going to jump down to verse 20. And then he goes on to tell you all these things you're not supposed to do. Verse 27 says, "Ye shall not round the corners of your head, neither shall you mar the corners of your head." It is also a scripture that says not to put a razor into your head. All right, we're not supposed to do that. Okay. "Ye shall not make cuttings in your flesh for the dead, nor print any marks upon you. I am Yahweh." And it's funny how that happens in the military. I got my first tattoo while I was in the Marine Corps. All right. Wish I'd never done it. I was in Thailand. Didn't even pay for it. All right. That was the crazy part. All right. Didn't even pay for it. They just wanted to, someone just wanted to use me as a model because, I was, had that big old muscular, light complected arm, and they just wanted to put it on there, and my dumb ass agreed to it. All right. Wish I had never done it. But see, that's what happens when you disconnect it to your heritage and to the ways of our power. And like I said, and then these people. So with recruiting being as low as it is, and America being in the trouble that it is, it doesn't need to be getting rid of any of its soldiers. This just goes to show you that there is no more wisdom left in Teman. That on the verge of World War III, that they would do this. And it's also showing that how inherently racist and hateful America is. No matter what you do, including becoming a Marine, which is one of the very difficult things to do. I guarantee it's a lot easier to become a lot of things, to pledge in a fraternity, to becoming a Marine, especially going back, 30 plus years ago. It's a very difficult thing to do. The U.S. Marine Corps is eliminating waivers that previously allowed service members who suffer from razor bumps to forego shaving, and actions the critics say disproportionately affect so-called black men. All right. So once again, they said 66% of the 16% of soldiers that this affects is so-called black men. So that means so you still got 40, damn near, another 40% of people who suffer from it as well. America can't afford to lose that many soldiers, especially Marines, in this time of war. Flip side of that coin, though, is for you Jakes that may get put out. It may be a blessing in disguise because the Lord is coming to annihilate this place. This is Revelation. Matter of fact, let's get that ready. This, see his what we call, when I was in the Marine Corps, a salad bar on his chest. This Marine recruiter with this salad bar on his chest, this decorated Marine. All right, or actually, this is a damn major. I never even looked at his collar. I just looked at his collars. Okay, and we're gonna see what this major has to say. But so if you want to get rid of, that many of your so-called Negroes and whatever other people of color who have the same issue, right? The other almost 40%, you can really lose a lot of people in a time of war, and America can't afford to lose any soldiers right now. So I'm gonna show you how stupid that there is no wisdom left in teaming. That you're gonna get rid of a good portion of your team before the battle comes. But once again, this could be the Lord, sparing some of you clowns. But this is Revelation 18:4, and it reads, "And I heard another voice from heaven saying, 'Come out of her, my people, and be ye not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues.'" The plagues is destruction. These soldiers are getting ready to get put to death from on high. The Lord is coming to destroy the armies of the earth, man, the power structures of the earth. And if you joined unto them, you're going to die with them. That tells you that in the book of Isaiah, right? Though your hand joined together, hand in hand, all right? Serving in your enemy's military, serving his interests, while he, mistreats and uses your people and destroys your people and make your people the scapegoat and the engine of his machine and everything that's negative in it. The railroading you to jail, shooting you up with all kind of weird chemicals into your food, into your body via medicines and the deploying of weapons into your neighborhoods, the removing of the fathers from your homes, the turning of your women against you, and most importantly, turning you from your father, turning you from your king and savior, teaching you religion and not teaching you that you were the Hebrew Israelites, not teaching you the truth about who you are. Okay? So let's, matter of fact, we'll play him once or twice. Let's see what the major has to say.
That 77% of Americans ages 17 to 24 are ineligible for military service due to obesity, substance abuse, or various medical conditions.
Wow.
Keep in mind that this number does not include any legal disqualifications. So out of those 23% that are actually eligible, recruiters have to find the ones that actually want to do it and are legally qualified to do it. That's not just scary, that's dangerous. So a good question is, who is at fault here? I have my own personal opinions.
Who is at fault is the government itself. It ruined these generations. You soften them up. You've added all these chemicals to the food. All right, they're fat, they're soft. You're the one that pushed this music, this drug addiction, gangster music. You pushed it, and you really aimed it at the so-called black people for the most part. But it's funny how Caucasians do more drugs than anybody else, so it's really affected your own. They just don't get policed in the same manner. If they did, the prisons would be filled with white people, so-called Caucasian young men, more so than men of color. Because I guarantee you, if you were to go to white neighborhoods and go through the backpacks of suburban and white children and go through their backpacks and pockets and their lockers, you will find more drugs on them than you will on their counterparts. That's a fact. All right, because they have the money and the resources for those drugs. All right. And that's a fact. You can, just be honest and talk to students and college students. They'll let you know. All right. So the fact of the being is that it's the policy of Esau, Edom, which has destroyed the youth, the young men. And now your most physical people in the most active in your society are, where you get your most star athletes and soldiers. I mean, so many great things have been done, by so-called blacks in your military, in your sports teams, et cetera, et cetera. And now you're going to eliminate one of your best resources because of razor bumps, for forcing them to do something that, it's supposed to be a God-fearing nation and all that they're not supposed to be doing anyway. You give special forces and things like that, especially a pass and let them grow their beards so they can blend in. You just need to continue to do that with these so-called, but it's okay. Let them go so they can be spared the destruction, because the Valley of Jehoshaphat is real and you're about to go there. All right. As a matter of fact, Revelation 18:4 again, and I heard another voice from heaven saying, "Come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues, for her sins have reached unto the heavens, and God have remembered her iniquities." The Lord has remembered all the things that you've done, and He's visiting you. He's destroying your society. This is Joel chapter 3, verses 2 and 4, and it says, "And I will also gather all nations, and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat, and I will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage, Israel." Remember 2 Corinthians 11:22. The Hebrew Israelites, are they Hebrews? So am I. Are they Israelites? So am I. Okay? And for what you've done to us and scattered us around the world, all right? Recruited us into your wicked systems, to your Marine Corps. It's funny, if I had my life to live all over again, if I knew, as a young man what I know now, I never would have served the beast. I would have gone to a straight trade school, became an electrician or a carpenter, construction worker. I did operate heavy equipment and cranes and stuff before I got out the military. I would have went that route and avoided, But everything happens for a reason. The Lord does what He does to put you through what you need to go through for punishment, also to build you up to be the man that you need. Because I have a lot of life experiences that a lot of people didn't have that I'm able to draw off of to teach, to be a leader, which I never looked or wanted to do. The Lord put me in that position. But it says, and I will Joel 2:3-2. "I will gather all nations and bring them down to the valley of Jehoshaphat, and will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land." They've done that. The Israelites have been scattered, and the land of Israel is parted between people that don't belong there. "And they have cast lots for my people, and have given a boy for a harlot, and sold a girl for wine, that they might drink." All right. So the slave trade, we got scattered and sold and traded for musket guns, wine and oil and all sorts of things. Yeah. What do you have to do with me, O Tyre and Zidon, and all the coasts of Palestine? Will you render me a recompense? And if you recompense me swiftly and speedily, will I return your recompense upon your own head? And hence the reason, instead of calling us Israelites, they call us black, a misnomer, a non-people. That's why they call you that. You don't have real rights. That's why they mistreat you with the way that they do on camera, with the way the police treat you. All right. I'm going to jump up to verse 8. Verse 10. And it reads, "Beat your plowshares into swords and your puny hooks into spears. Let the weak say I'm strong." So now all these other nations are building themselves up and ready to fight against America. At the meantime, America doesn't even have recruitable, men for his military. And then it's some of his best soldiers they want to get rid of because of razor bumps. No wisdom. None. Esau's own foolishness, his own hatred is destroying him. Let's play it again.
This is scary. I recently came across a study that said that 77% of Americans ages 17 to 24 are ineligible for military service due to obesity.
Look at that. Look at that right there. That is your average American male, especially the average American pale male. Them more than anyone else.
Substance abuse.
Yep. Also, them more than anyone else. Their minds are gone, destroyed. All right. So they're laughing stock.
For various medical conditions. Keep in mind,
a lot of those medical conditions came on after, the forced medical injection thing too.
That this number does not include any legal disqualifications.
So, right, that's not even the 23% of the legal disqualifications. America is fucked. And he said this is scary.
So, out of those 23% that are actually eligible, recruiters have to find the ones that actually want to do it. And
so you're going to be down men, all right, as this is happening. Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. Assemble yourselves, come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about thither, cause the mighty ones to come down, O Yahweh. Let the heathen be wakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat, for I will sit to judge the heathen round about. Put ye in your sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Come down, get you down, for the press is full, the fats overflow, for their weakness is great. Multitudes in the valley of decision, for the day of Yahweh is near in the valley of decision. So the Lord, in the valley of decision, the Lord is about to put his sickle in and destroy you. So you so-called black Marines that aren't fit for duty because of this. You're not the drugged out fat obese boy, but because you have razor bumps, they're gonna eliminate you. And so they don't have soldiers, man. They can't afford to do that. But their own hate, anything to put you, to shame you, all right, to make it look like you're some sort of problem, all right, is what these people want to do. They always want to make Jake the face of the problem, all right? But at the same time, the Lord is getting ready to annihilate the forces of Esau Edom. All right, this is 2nd Ezra 13. And I'm going to read verses 1 through 4. And it came to pass after 7 days I dreamed a dream by night. And lo, there arose a wind from the sea, and it moved all the waves thereof. And I beheld, and lo, a man waxed strong with thousands of heaven. And when he turned his countenance to look, all things trembled that were seen unto him. And whensoever the voice went out of his mouth, all burned that heard his voice, like as the earth faileth when it filleth the fire. So basically, when the Lord appears, what they've been calling UAPs and UFOs, all right, this one time they're going to come, and the Lord is going to come on one gigantic one. And all them that are going to come with them, their voice is going to be them firing their space rays, whatever you want to call them. All right. You've seen the videos. All right. They can't scoff their existence anymore. And they try to explain them away to be aliens and monsters. All right. Those are the angels. And guess what? They look kind of like this Marine, except they be all about 8 foot tall, wearing the barrel, the green, with big afros. That's where they get the big head and the green from. All right. But their skin is chocolate, just like they're described in the Bible, which people tend to just ignore those scriptures that speak on the chocolate appearance of the Lord, of the Father, of the angels, and of the Hebrew Israelites. 2 Corinthians 2 and 11. 11 and 22. Are they Hebrews? So am I. Are they Israelites? So am I. Okay. Jump into verse 8. 2nd Ezra 13 and 8. And after I beheld, and lo, all they which were gathered together to subdue him were so afraid, but yet durst fight. They're going to be extremely afraid, all right? But the Lord's going to put a spirit on them to fight anyway, just so he can show off his power. It's like tricking a bully, all right, into throwing a first punch. So now that you justified and you know, in KTFO, all right, you know, knocking him the F out, all right? And lo, as he saw the violence of the multitude that came, he neither lifted his hand nor held a sword or any instrument of war, but only I saw, as he sent out of his mouth, there had been a blast of fire, and out of his lips a flaming breath, and out of his tongue he cast out the sparks and tempests. This is the war in heaven when Michael and his angels, when they show up, fight against Satan and his angels, the adversary, the human adversary, Esau, Edom. This is when this happens, and this is about to happen. The Space Force and the military, the Air Force and all that are going to try to fight Satan and his adversaries, are going to try to fight the Lord and Michael and his angels. What you call UAPs and UFOs. That's is when this happens. And the heaven that Satan gets kicked out of, the adversary, the human adversary, is out of rulership. All right? He gets brought down. All right? And he said, and out of his tongue he has cast out sparks and tempests. That's those fire, those rays, those energy coming from the vessels. All right? And they will all mix together a blast of fire, flaming breath, and great tempest, which fell just like a fire tornado being aimed at you. All right? It says, and the great tempest which fell with violence upon the multitude, which was prepared to fight, and burned them up, every one, that upon a sudden of an innumerable multitude, nothing was perceived but only the dust and smell of smoke, which I saw. When I saw this, I was afraid. So, you know, it's like the scene in War of the Worlds, the newer one. You heard that ray blast, and all you saw was dust. All right, nothing left but dust. The Lord is about to annihilate this place. All right, so, you know, come out of her, my people. You go ahead and keep getting your waivers and get kicked out of the Marine Corps. All right, and you know, the Lord may be blessing you. To hell with the Marines. To hell with Esau and his forces. All right, he's doing you a favor. Call halal Yahweh Basham Al Shai Bahasham Rakahak Wadash Kwam Yasharala Abad Babal.